students. So today we are going to take up John Donne's famous poem Go and Catch a Falling Star. Before we proceed any further, let me discuss some basic facts about the poet. John Donne was born in 1572 in London, England. He is very famous as the founder of the metaphysical school of poetry, a term which was created by the great critic Samuel Johnson, who was a great essayist, poet, and philosopher, and poets like George Herbert, Richard Crashaw, Andrew Marvell, and John Cleveland. These are loosely associated with this group. He died on March 31st, 1631 in London, but within his lifespan, he had created great masterpieces. I'm naming a few famous works by him. The few famous poems are Go and Catch a Falling Star itself is very famous. Apart from this, The Good Morrow, A Valediction Forbidding Mourning, The Canonization, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Death Be Not Proud, and Sun Rising. These are some of his very famous songs or very famous poems, lyrics rather. Apart from this, he is also famous for his letters. He has written some of his famous letters to Mr. Christopher, the Storm, to Mr. Christopher, the Calm, to Sir Henry Wotton, and so on. So, on the whole, we can say he was a great poet, and basically he is known for his love poetry. But it is very strange that this poem, after reading this poem, you people are surely going to have an opinion that he actually hated women. So let me clarify. John Donne was a great love poet and he respected women very much. But who knows, maybe he was ditched by a particular woman, and in that moment, or in that spur of moment, in that mood, he had written this particular poem. So somehow the theme of this poem reflects the idea that women are unfaithful. So let's have the poem. Go and catch a falling star. Get with a child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy's stinging, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. See, if we look at this particular paragraph, certain impossible tasks have been mentioned by the poet. Like in the very beginning, he asks the readers to go and catch a meteor. And we all know it's rather impossible to catch a falling star. We'll be just linking this line later on to the theme of the poem, why he is giving you these impossible tasks. The mystery will be unraveled towards the end of the poem. So let's just go with the flow. So he says, go and catch a falling star, go and catch a meteor, or from the root of mandrake plant. See, mandrake is a plant, and it is said that when you pull it out, it creates a sound which is very much similar to the crying of a baby. There is no baby, but it is the quality of the plant itself. So it is impossible to get a child from its root, but the poet is challenging you. So he says, either you go and catch a meteor, that means a falling star, or you get a child from the root of mandrake plant. The third impossible task is he is asking you to tell him where is that bygone time. It's impossible. See, we cannot, it's time is not something solid that we may tell the poet that we have kept it in this almirah or in that almirah. It's impossible. No one can tell that where the time, when the time just goes, where actually it goes. So he says, just tell me where the past years have gone, or who cleft the devil's foot. Now it is very ticklish. up till now we actually don't know whether devils really exist or not. See, I am not in a mood to meet any devil, but the poet is challenging to tell him actually that who has cleft means make gap between. So he says, tell me who has cleft the foot of the devil. So we cannot tell it even because we even don't know whether devil exists or not. It is only in the mythical stories. So we actually don't know whether devil is there or not. So how can we tell who has cleft the foot of it? Teach me to hear mermaids singing. Again, the same impossible task. See, he is saying that tell me the art by which I can also listen to the song of mermaids. A similar case of just like devil, we also don't know whether mermaids exist or not. Mermaids, half fish, half man. In Hindi, we call them Jalpari. So he says, just tell me how to listen to the songs of mermaid. See, when we even don't know whether mermaids exist or not, how can we tell the poet how to listen to their song? So again, it is an impossible task. Or to keep off envy's stinging. Next impossible task, the poet narrates, is to tell him how to avoid the sting of envy. See, in this world, every human has some or more the quality of being envious to someone or something. There is no one in this world actually who can say that I am free from envies. So rather, it is rather impossible to tell how can one be keep oneself away from envy. So it is again an impossible task. And find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. And lastly, he says, okay, tell me what sort of wind is there, what sort of wind is required to make a person's mind honest. See, India badly needs it. So we all know that there is no such wind which can make the person honest or dishonest, but that means it's an impossible task. But he is saying so just in order to heighten the impact of whatever argument he is going to have in the next paragraph. So in this particular stanza, we can see that he is giving you so many impossible tasks, and he simply wants to heighten the effect of whatever argument he is going to give. As I told you in the very beginning, the theme is women and constancy. So he is just building, you can say, the argument for making it, for making, you can say, giving one sort of weight to his argument, that it is really impossible to find an uh, honest and beautiful woman, that he says in the later stanzas. So in this particular stanza, we can say that there are so many impossible tasks being narrated, like catching a meteor, getting a child from the mandrake root, telling about the past years, who has cleft the devil's foot, or to tell the poet how to listen to the mermaid's song, or to keep away oneself from envy, or lastly, how can one's mind become honest by a particular kind of wind. So this stanza is full of so many impossible tasks, and students, do remember that at least four of the impossible tasks must be just learnt by you people for your short answer type questions. This is even asked in very often in competitive exams. So I hope the thing is clear to you. Now let's proceed further. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. Now, as I told you in the beginning, the theme around which this whole poem has been built is women in constancy. He simply wants to prove that every impossible task in this world may become possible, but it can never be possible to find a woman who is both beautiful and faithful. So, again, he's saying the same thing. He says, if there is a person who has got two special qualities, like if thou is old English, now we use you. Thou is was used in archaic English. Beest now we use is mr for this, but in old English b word was used. So if thou beest born to strange sights, he says, if there is a person who has the quality to see strange things by birth, things invisible to see, and that person has got another special quality that he can see invisible things which are invisible to normal human beings. If there is a person who can see these things, like strange things and invisible things, right, 10,000 days and nights, and if such a person goes on horse riding for 10,000 days and nights, see such a long span of time, till age Snow White hairs on thee. He says, when that person will return back, naturally his hair will become Snow White. It is possible maybe he may lose all his hair, but he is saying, the poet is saying that because of aging, the hair of that person will become Snow White. So when that person will return, person, the person who has got the two qualities, one to see strange sights and the other one to see invisible things, and if that person goes on horse riding for 10,000 days and nights, and then when that person will return back, naturally he will have aged, so his hair will become Snow White. Though when thou returnest wilt tell me. He says, when that person will return. I'm telling you again and again that this is archaic English, old English. That's why you are having these strange words. So, though when thou returnest wilt tell me. So, when that person will return, the poet says that fellow will tell me. What will that fellow tell? All strange wonders that befell thee. Naturally, that person will have met with so many strange things, because he was having two special qualities. So, and he went on such a long journey. So, naturally, he will be having so many things to tell when that person will return. So, the poet says, when that fellow will return, he will tell me all about the strange and wonderful things that happened with him. Still, he is very sure, the poet is very sure, that even that fellow will swear that in nowhere lives a woman true and fair. Even that person who has got two special qualities, who went on such a long journey, when that fellow will return, he will have great many things to share with the poet. Even then, the poet is quite sure that that fellow will tell him that in this whole world there is no such woman who is both loyal and beautiful. Now we are heading towards the last part. If thou findest one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage were sweet. The poet is very sure that there is no such lady in the world who is both beautiful and faithful. But in case, the poet says, in case if someone is able to find such woman, let me know. Then do tell me. Such a pilgrimage were sweet. For me, meeting that lady will be as good as a pilgrimage. Pilgrimage in Hindi we call it Tirth Yatra. So he says, if you find such a lady, just tell me, because I will surely go to meet that lady. For me, it will be equivalent to a pilgrimage. Yet do not, I would not go. But suddenly he changes the idea. He says, okay, don't tell me. Even if you find one, don't tell me, because I won't go. Firstly, he says that he will definitely go to meet that lady, because for him it will be like a pilgrimage. But suddenly he changes the idea. He says, don't tell me, I won't go. Though at next door we might meet, even if that lady might be my neighbor, that so that I may not have to go to a journey to meet that lady. Probably she might be living in my neighborhood. Even then, I won't go to meet that lady. Why? He gives the reason. He says, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter. He says, okay, perhaps she would have been true. She would have been faithful when the fellow who met him and is going to inform me, when that fellow might have met that lady, she might have been faithful. And probably she might have been faithful till that fellow wrote the letter about her to the poet. Yet the poet is quite sure that she will be false ere I come. Ere, again the archaic use, ere nowadays we use before. He says, don't tell me I won't go to meet that lady, because I am sure that she might have been faithful when you, the writer of the letter, were with that lady. Probably she might have been faithful till that fellow would have written his letter, but he says, before I go to meet that lady, she would have proven faithless to two or three. She would have she would have ditched to two or three fellows. See, this is the height of misogyny. He is saying that it is impossible to find a woman in this whole world who might be both loyal and beautiful. And he sticks to this idea even to the very last line of the poem. So, this was all about of the poem. I think you might have understood it. Okay, that's it for today.